$21.41. This call is from a collection facility and is subject to monitoring and recording.
It's a celebration here. When these protesters finally get on the phone with inmates inside the Washington, D.C. jail, a ritual, a vigil that happens every night.
There's been somebody here on the corner every night for over 2 years now. It's standing in solidarity with each other, and it's our attempt to improve the conditions inside the jail for the guys that are here and draw attention to the absolute trouncing of their constitutional rights as American citizens.
Click, 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 click.
The prisoners flicker lights inside the jail, a greeting to the outside world. And the performance begins.
3, 2, 1.
Singing along with these protesters are men and women imprisoned for their roles in the January 6th attack on the United States Capitol. A rendition of the national anthem, echoing out onto this sidewalk protest and making it all the way to begin some of former President Donald Trump's campaign rallies. The recording painting the men and women who stormed the Capitol not as rioters, but something else.
The hostages, and that's what they are, is hostages.
I truly believe my husband is at this point. You know, he is a hostage. He's done his time.
For months, we've been investigating that ongoing effort to change how history remembers January 6th.
Anyone that wants to continue to shame us for January 6th can go to hell.
A campaign to rebrand a violent attempt to stop the peaceful transfer of power.
They are demonic when they come to this topic of J6.
It was neither an insurrection nor deadly.
Nobody on the other side was killed.
What we found is a story about January 6th that did not end that day.
Occasionally, you know, in my dreams, right back there, in a fight for my life.
My side of the building was non-violent.
Derek, it's on video. Okay, I'll show it to you.
Do it.
Are you hurt?
Can I go sit down? No. I was wrong. I was guilty.
Do you have any remorse for all of that?
What they have been told doesn't necessarily represent the full truth.
But has grown into a years-long battle over truth itself.
Coal country and Trump country are one and the same. You can't have one without the other. We don't want to live anywhere else. We'll live here and be left alone.
It's been about 2 years since Derek Evans got out of prison.
You can disagree with me and say that the election wasn't stolen.
Evans was convicted for trespassing at the Capitol and trying to obstruct the certification of the 2020 election. He was sentenced to 3 months in federal prison. Question, do you think January 6th will always follow you in a way?
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be in your obituary.
It is. No, I don't know about that.
Well, how does that feel?
Actually, I don't really care if it is or not, to be honest with you.
On January 6th, Evans was a newly elected member of the West Virginia House of Delegates.
Let's get crazy now.
He still attended Trump's Stop the Steal rally.
We will stop the steal.
And live streamed this video.
There we go. Go. Yeah! We're going in. We're going in.
A first-person view of the Capitol attack. Was the goal to stop the certification?
No, I'm going there because of two reasons. Number one, to exercise my natural God-given rights of free speech, and number two, to support President Trump.
If it wasn't to stop the certification, then why go inside?
I didn't think it was a big deal.
Let's go, man. We're part of history. You're up.
Evans insists what he saw
Share the video.
and recorded that day was largely peaceful.
Cops are running. Cops are running.
You were standing right next to rioters who were clashing with police officers.
That's simply not true.
Derek, it's on video.
Okay.
I'll show it to you.
Do it.
Here it is. Ready?
Yeah.
This is your video.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
For the record, guys, I'm not touching anything. I am just here to watch.
Oh, that's not up there, the Capitol building. That's a bicycle
Right, they're
racks
about
back
to
there.
break through the first barricade.
Okay, the bicycle racks. Okay, yeah. I thought you meant up at the Capitol.
Right,
Okay.
but this is the Capitol complex.
Well, they're not, for the record, they're not clashing.
They're pushing the barricades.
They are removing
and the
barricades,
officers are on
yes,
other
but they're not
sides of it.
fighting police officers.
They're not removing the barricades, Derek. They're pushing through.
They're not fighting the police officers, though.
The police
no
are
one
holding
there
the
that
barricades back, Derek.
has show me where someone puts their hands on a police officer.
They're putting their hands on the barricade.
On the police officer.
And on the other side is the police officer.
Show me where someone puts their hands on a police officer.
Well, firstly, they're pushing thing that the officers
I'm not
are
arguing with you. I agree with you.
And in his video, Evans makes it clear where he is.
Derek Evans is in the Capitol.
Evans was charged just 2 days after the Capitol attack
Let's go!
and ultimately pleaded guilty. He resigned from the state legislature and apologized,
Hey, what's up, the West Virginia crew?
adding he took, quote, full responsibility for his actions. If it wasn't a big deal, why did you apologize and resign?
That's a whole thing to get into the resignation stuff. There are a lot of politics getting into that. Yeah, well, at the time, the media was making this seem, I was even somewhat believing the media narrative that there were people, it was a lot more serious than it was.
But after his stint in prison, Evans became one of at least 7 former January 6th defendants to mount a bid for Congress in 2024. And any apologies for January 6th evaporated. Instead, the Capitol attack became a part of his brand. His campaign website even used this picture from court, labeling Evans as a political prisoner. The federal agent said in your interview with the FBI, you expressed, quote, great shame.
Well, I don't know about shame.
Do you have remorse?
Depends on in which way you're meaning that by. Do I regret what my family was forced to go through because of my actions? Absolutely.
Evans lost his primary this spring.
Stay strong, never give up.
In prison is where Pam Hemphill of South Carolina got these letters, thousands of pages of fan mail from Trump supporters.
We're telling them that Trump's not leaving office.
Just as Derek Evans did.
Trump is not leaving our office. He's staying right here with us.
Hemphill shot her own video at the Capitol on January 6th. At one point, in the midst of the chaos, the 68-year-old cancer survivor fell to the ground.
Sir! Get off of her! And I ran to the steps, but I didn't have a chance. I'm on the steps, and the crowd pushed me towards an officer, but I was thinking real quick, and I pushed myself back, landed on my back. They pushed me. It was a nightmare. I couldn't breathe. Just said, man, I can't breathe.
Okay. Call ambulance. They're coming here. They gotta get you out there. Go out there where the ambulance is.
But even after that, Hemphill still went inside the Capitol, trespassing, and kept filming.
Well, I don't want to go this far.
She was eventually charged, pled guilty, and sentenced to 2 months in prison. Inside, Hemphill became a kind of MAGA celebrity, the January 6th granny. Former President Trump even posted about her on social media. You can't come to D.C.
No, I have to have a court order or be ordered by Congress.
But for Hemphill, something flipped.
I started to realize no matter what evidence you bring to these people, they gaslight you and tell you not to listen to it or don't read it or, total denial. So when you're listening to them, It's like crazy making. Oh, Pam, we had the right to be in there that day. It's our house.
This is our house!
That's all delusional. Political hostage, that's an insult. No, you broke the law. A family member tell me I've lost my mind for pushing back on Trump. They've all abandoned me.
You've lost family for how you feel now.
Oh, yeah.
How does that feel?
Horrible. I mean, they are willing today to give up their own family for Trump. That's unheard of. It's crazy. I was wrong. I was guilty.
But Pam Hemphill is an outlier. Of the nearly 1,500 people charged in connection with January 6th, dozens have embraced their roles that day.
Jeremy, welcome back to Cowboy Logic.
Calling into right-wing media programs from behind bars.
Hey, everybody, welcome back.
One inmate even had a podcast he used to host from inside jail, titled Political Prisoner.
I'm thinking starting real soon here.
As we sat with Pam Hemphill, we got a surprise phone call.
I'm putting on my microphone here because, I wasn't expecting your call.
From someone still in prison. On the phone was Rachel Powell, a Capitol rioter currently serving a 4-year federal prison sentence.
What have the last few months been like for you?
Been a living hell.
In this video, used by prosecutors in court, you can see Powell there in the pink hat, trying to smash through a window of the Capitol.
I'm actually reading a little bit of your charging documents. I pulled them up while we were chatting. And they say, among other things, that you were one of the first people to break through the line that day of police, that you were engaged in violence, adjacent to other violence. Do you have any remorse for all of that?
Well, we didn't go there planning an insurrection. We didn't go there planning violence. And the police attacked us first. Hey, guys, I've been in the other room. Listen to me.
And charging documents also show Powell used a bullhorn.
You can drop down into a room underneath it.
Shouting to fellow rioters detailed directions of the Capitol's floor plan.
And one to the right.
She could be heard saying this.
People should probably coordinate together if you're going to take this building.
And prosecutors say that is Powell, with her pink hat outside one of the entrances to the Capitol's west side. Where she is standing is about as close as you could get. To some of the most brutal violence against police officers seen that day. But today, Powell still calls herself a political prisoner.
You went through the court system. You're not a hostage, necessarily.
Yeah, I do feel like a hostage. I can't believe that this is happening.
But that doesn't necessarily forgive, hurting a police officer, right?
Well, none of us in here hurt police officers or was there with that intention. There was more people on that day, on January 6th, that were hurt, that were protesters.
The Department of Justice says more than 140 police officers were injured that day. Coming up, one of those Capitol police officers still reliving the attack.
I'd been standing in full riot gear.
Responds to those lies about January 6th. And what Donald Trump is promising rioters if he gets elected in November.
I think of myself that I am an artist first, was a police officer second. I feel like with my art, I can express myself in ways that I could not otherwise verbalize. This is a very popular print.
Is how Winston Panjan copes.
I've been holding on to it, and so when I'm creating, it's letting go.
What he's been holding on to.
They moved with me from D.C.
Is the trauma of January 6th.
And that's where the violence occurred.
Winston was a Capitol police officer that day.
Some parts of that day are still a blur, but some parts are really crystal clear. I remember hearing radio calls of officers yelling for help, that the line had been breached. They sounded panicked and like they really needed help. So in my mind, that was one of the first indicators, hey, maybe this is not just a normal protest.
He and his team, dressed in full riot gear, then rushed to the Capitol's West Front, the site of some of the most brutal violence against police officers seen that day.
We were so outnumbered. There just were not enough of us. We had all started, to fight with this mob, get pulled in different directions, trying to protect different windows and doors. Before I knew it, I was punched in my face, and I was knocked on my back. My helmet came down, and it felt like someone was on top of me, and I couldn't see anything. And I remember just thinking, I have to protect my gun.
What were they saying to you?
They were saying all sorts of things like President Trump sent us. We don't want to hurt you, but we will.
I can see in your eyes it's hard to relive this.
It's hard to relive and talk about moments like this, but I had that moment right there that I might die right here on the steps of the U.S. Capitol.
Rioters injured roughly 140 police officers, making it one of the most violent days for law enforcement in recent U.S. history.
I'm still occasionally, in my dreams, right back there in a fight for my life.
Are you worried that never goes away?
I am, I guess, yeah.
4 officers who responded to the Capitol attack have since died by suicide. Officer Brian Sicknick suffered multiple strokes hours after he was pepper sprayed by rioters. The D.C. medical examiner ruled he died of natural causes, but said his experience on January 6th played a role in his condition. Dozens of others, like Winston, have invisible scars that may never fully heal.
Is that you?
That is a self-portrait of me that I did from a photo taken of me that night. I'd been in riot gear for, at that point, probably almost 12 hours. I just remember being thankful that I was going home. This is my Congressional Gold Medal.
Winston went back to work soon after and was there serving on the Capitol Police Force as the memory of January 6th began to be politicized. He's since left law enforcement.
Right after January 6th, it seemed like everybody was on the same page. This is not okay. And then very quickly, the narrative shifted. And that was really difficult to see.
We showed Winston what Derek Evans, a convicted Capitol rioter and former congressional candidate, told us about January 6th.
Do I think that anyone should be fighting police officers? No, I do not. I think it's wrong to do that. The police officers are the ones that really started the whole violence over there. Oh, come on, nothing.
It's not true at all. We were there protecting. We were there to hold a line. We're not pushing back unless we're pushed on first. So it's completely ridiculous. I'm glad he acknowledges that police should not be attacked. It seems like there's a very basic level of understanding there, perhaps.
Multiple accused January 6th rioters have put forward defenses claiming they were incited to violence by police. None have been successful in court.
It's so dismissive. It's so disrespectful.
He says one more thing that I was going to leave it there, but he says one more thing.
If you want to believe that these police officers did no wrong for the first time in history, that's fine.
I think it's interesting that you're taking somewhat of an anti-police stance.
Well, when I sort of am, absolutely.
So they say back the blue lives matter until they don't. You could say they were violent for whatever reason, they were caught up in the crowd, but then to not grow up and say, look, what happened was wrong, what I did was wrong, and I am sorry. That's where, how can we forgive them.
This is the most volatile, complex, dynamic, and dangerous threat environment that I've experienced in the 40 years that I've worked in law enforcement and homeland security.
John Cohen is an ABC News contributor and former counterterrorism official for the Department of Homeland Security, whose job it was to track threats emerging at home in the immediate aftermath of January 6th.
What we saw on violent extremist forums and in other platforms where anti-government groups tended to communicate is the belief that January 6th was the beginning. It wasn't the culmination.
It's misinformation about the Capitol attack that now worries Cohen the most.
When you have mainstream figures in politics or the media mimicking the same narratives we're seeing on terrorist or violent extremist forums, then that creates the perfect storm for violence. And the more people that consume and believe those narratives, the higher the likelihood we will see violence.
As the Republican nominee, Donald Trump has made rewriting the history of January 6th a signature of his campaign, telling ABC's Rachel Scott he would pardon rioters that assaulted police officers.
My question is on those rioters who assaulted officers.
You have to
would you pardon
what's
those
going to
people?
happen? Oh, absolutely, I would.
You would pardon those?
If they're innocent, I would pardon them.
They've been convicted.
And by the way,
a Trump pardon is exactly what convicted Capitol rioter Rachel Powell told us she's waiting for behind bars.
If Trump gets in, he's promising us a pardon, and this call is from a federal prison, that he will pardon us if he gets in and they don't steal the next election.
Several of Powell's fellow January 6th inmates feel the same, she told us, and to prove it, mailed us this photo, smuggled out of her federal prison cell, showing her and 3 other January 6th defendants smiling with the words Trump 2024 scrawled up top.
I would want to know why they did what they did, and I'd be curious to know if they have remorse today. I think that's what I would want to know, because loyalty to one man to alter your life negatively, to go to prison for years, I mean, I would ask them, was it worth it?
How do you think history should remember January 6th then?
I don't even think it's really worth remembering. It's been blown out of proportion by the media.
It's not worth remembering?
It's not that big of an event when you really get down to the truth of this.
Years after rioters attacked the foundations of American democracy.
Ashley Babbitt! Ashley Babbitt!
Truth is the new battlefield. A fight waged at this January 6th vigil held every night for 2 years now.
Edward Vallejo, Salvador Vassallo.
Outside the Washington, D.C. jail. And that community here first bonded by Trump's lies of a stolen election.
This is President Trump's signature right here.
That's Donald Trump's signature right there?
Yes, sir.
Is now held together by their new cause. A campaign to alter history itself.